The city of Phoenix is prepared for monsoon season, and they want you to be just as ready. At a Public Awareness Media Day, city departments outlined how they're prepared for an unpredictable monsoon season.
Yeah, so our streets department during a storm, they take the lead for infrastructure protection. So they're 24/7. The streets folks will go out. They'll start clearing right-of-ways. Then once that starts and they've assessed that damage, then they bring in the Parks Department and the Public Works Department. And then those three departments primarily work together to clear right-of-ways, remove debris, and all of those kinds of things.
I'm here with Gil Garcia right in front of the vac Honda. He's from the street department. What does this big truck do?
Actually, what it does is a monsoon season comes, it actually floods out the streets. I go in, I get a phone call in, and I actually pump out all the water that out of the streets. Standing water, rainwater is what it is, and it's water where it goes nowhere. So I go in and I go out there and pump out the water.
Okay, big question. How many gallons of water and how quickly can you get the streets clean?
This truck actually takes about 3,000 tons of water in it, and it also carries 15 pounds of water inside this truck.
The message today is all about preparedness. I'm here with Monica Hernandez, the PIO from the Streets Department, who's going to talk about these water barriers.
Thank you, Deborah. So what we're looking at are water barrier devices that are actually really convenient to use. We're using them. As you can tell, we've got a number of tools available at our disposal, from large industrial-sized trucks to something as simple as this water barrier. And it's super convenient. Here's how it works. Basically, it has a dry gel substance in it. The minute water comes into contact with it, it'll swell up and it can begin to serve as a water barrier. And they're super convenient. No longer do you have to worry about where do I get sand, lugging the sand back from your car into your home, and also worrying about where do I buy the bag for the sand and so on. So that's gone.
So where do you get these gel barriers or water barriers, if you
They're
will?
available at hardware stores, think home improvement stores, and you can also order them online. They're called water barriers. You can also do a search for quick dams, and we've been using them for close to 2 years now. We started with last year's monsoon season. We have them in different sizes. Of course, our needs are much different compared to the average household owner. I like to call these the pillow size. We use what I call the mattress size. They're huge, they're gigantic. And again, they swell up and they serve as water barriers.
So for a homeowner, a typical homeowner, what would you suggest? How many should they have on the pillow size?
So for a household, I would recommend anywhere from 3 to 4, again, depending on how much water tends to accumulate. And here's what I would recommend. If you're not going to be at home to take care of that water from entering your home, what you can do is just lay these out. You know water's coming, lay them out, put something on them to serve as weight. And the minute water hits them, they'll start to swell up and start to serve as barriers.
Thank you so much, Monica. Now that is a definite must-have during monsoon season. It's easy, simple purchase, lay it out near your doorstep, your back door, and there you have it.
Wow.
Monsoons come quick and can devastate a community in minutes, leaving debris, fallen trees, flooding, and damage. Public Works and Parks also play a major role in the cleanup. So Claire, people hike during the monsoon. What should they know and what are the do's and don'ts about hiking during the monsoon?
I really think you have to keep an eye on the weather at all times. Those monsoon storms, they come in quickly, but you can see them building in the distance. So if you see that starting to build and come your way, maybe it's a time to save the hike for tomorrow.
Too often, people have to be rescued off mountains and flooded streets.
Right now, just like we would on a call, the helicopter is coming on scene, communicating with the rescue crews who are on the ground, finding out what it is that they need. And they're going to take a good look at the problem, which is basically the victims who are stranded on top of a vehicle. There is a rescue crew in the back of the aircraft. Like I explained earlier, we have a crew chief who's going to be running the hoist, and then we have an air rescue tech who's actually going to be coming out of the helicopter with the rescue device, which is called a cinch collar, that's going to be used to capture that victim and then pull them off of the top of the vehicle. So they're going over their rescue plan right now. They're setting up, they're judging wind, they're judging their approach path. They're just doing a lot of communication inside right now. just coming up with their plan and their contingency plan should the first plan not work.
And what's kind of the range of height that they go? How close can they get? How far is too high?
So the hoist height can vary. They're probably actually going to stay a little higher right now just to not blow us away so badly, but the lower they are, the easier it is. Just because there's a difficulty in sort of gauging elevation for the crew chief when he's lowering down his air rescue tech. Especially when you're over water, you don't see shadows like you do over land to kind of gauge height and elevation. So it takes us a lot of practice. That's why we do so many repetitions of training of this every summer. But I'd say the height they're going to be at is roughly at about anywhere from 60 to 70 meters, which is right around 180 feet, 200 feet.
And then wind, I've got to imagine, is huge. So when you say plan and contingency plan, how much is wind a factor? Do you ever just go?
Wind can always be a factor, just like so many other different types of factors that go along with a helicopter operation. Wind is not necessarily a deal breaker on the evolution. It just will dictate the approach path.
And then how many people can they take up in that? Is it one at a time always?
So yeah, in fact, when the victim gets pulled off of the top of the vehicle, they're actually not going to be hoisted all the way back up to the aircraft like we would on a mountain rescue. They're simply just going to take them a few feet up, and then they're going to put them down in a safe location, which is exactly what we would do in a real water scenario. We're not going to bring them all the way back up to the aircraft. If we have a safe place to set the victim and the rescuer down, they will do that. They'll come off of the hook, and then the crew chief will retrieve the hook, and then the helicopter will fly back to a safe landing zone. So right now the air rescue tech is coming out of the aircraft. As you can see, he's on his way down, and the helicopter has begun his approach towards the stranded vehicle and the victim.
Are they communicating back to anyone with the fire department right now? Like if the pilot talked to anyone, or it's just up to
all the communications that are happening in the aircraft are just within that rescue and that flight crew. So there's really nothing that they're doing right now that we need to be communicating with them on. Once the helicopter evolution is done, we'll resume communications so that we can get them safely back down into the base landing zone. So you can see the air rescue tech is communicating with some different hand signals. Communicating via radio can be really challenging, being down at the end of the hook like that, especially with noise and everything else. So we do use a lot of hand signals.
What does that hand signal mean right now?
Just to go down slowly. Again, the flight crew is trying to find the right time to set the rescuer down on top of the boat or the vehicle so that he can get in there, get that device on top of the victim. This will only take a couple seconds. He's going to give him the up sign, and they're going to get hoisted off. They're going to gain a little bit of elevation with the hoist, and then they're going to start flying over towards our bank and set down safely with the rescuer and the rescuer and the victim.
Here's what you can do to stay safe. This year, the city is promoting to make your own Go Kit, a portable pack that includes food, water, and basic supplies that will allow you to be self-sufficient for 72 hours. Items such as a backpack, water, first aid supplies, flashlight or battery-powered lantern, non-perishable foods, just to name a few. The city mailed out nearly 500,000 brochures in water bills. Stay up to date with monsoon information at phoenix.gov/monsoon. phoenix.gov/update or search hashtag PHXStorm on social media. Stay safe this summer. For Phoenix TV, I'm Deborah Cedillo Dugan.